In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a bottle bag. So, stick around to the end. I've got a secret tip to share. So to make the bottle bag, you're going to need to tape all your pattern pieces together first. So let's do that. Okay, so when you've cut it in half, there's only one real pattern piece for this, which is the bottle bag. And this, what's nice about it, it's fully lined. So I've got one, this is my top fabric, I've also got a lining. And the other piece that you've got here is a template, and that's for cutting the handle out of the bottle bag. So we'll do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place both of the pieces on top of each other, cut them out on the fold. So I know I've got a 1 centimetre seam allowance all the way around, and if you like, you're welcome to draw the seam allowance in. The bottle bag has got some notches. It's got a notch at the top and it's got a notch at the bottom. And I'm going to use my pattern notcher just to put those marks in for myself. So this is the area where I'm going to match it up to the fold on the fabric. And then when you're finished, move your template away, and that's your first bottle bag handle in. So we need to put another one in. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open out our fabric, put the right sides together, and we're going to sew down the sides and then do the same with the lining. Our second seam, we're going to backstitch and sew across here 1 centimetre. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to box our corners. So I've got the handles of the bottle bag pushed away from me and I'm focusing on the corners. And what I'm going to do is the right angles of the corners, I'm going to put them together. So I'm pinching each side of the fabric. I'm going to match up the seam, open the other seam out, seam number 2. So I've got them, oops, let's get that one open. The reason that we're opening the seam out, it just reduces the bulk. So I've got my corners ready, and what I'm going to do is just put a pin in to secure my corner. And that's my corner. So we'll look at that again. So I've got the fabric nice and flat, and I'm just going to grab each of the corners with my thumb and forefinger to open it out. I'm going to open the seam out, and you can finger press it or you can iron that seam down. Just going to open the fabrics. I am lining up the corners because I want them nice and neat. I'm going to get pin, and I'm going to put a horizontal pin in, and do the same with your lining. And then what you're going to do is 1 centimetre back stitch, sew all the way along and back stitch. So I've got the seam allowance for the handle pinned, and what I'm going to do next, we're going to look at seam number 5. So seam number 5, we need to pin all the way around this handle. So I've got lots of pins in, and then we're going to sew 1 centimetre all the way around. So because we've stitched on a curve, this curve will be quite tight. So what we need to do is to remove some of the tightness. So all I'm doing is I am reducing the width of the seam. So I've now reduced the width of the seam, and that's on the area that's got the deepest curve. I'm going to take my pins out. I'm going to take out the main part of the bottle bag. So we've now got, that's my main bottle bag, this is my lining. Turn the lining and I'm just going to separate the two, and I'm going to push the lining inside now. And I'm just going to push everything out to make sure it's nice and neat. And I'm going to iron the handle for the bottle bag. Okay, so we're on our 6th final seam, which is the other side of the bottle bag, the other handle. You've got the option here, you could buy a spine tip, but what I like to do is I get the edges of the fabric and I turn them both in on each other, round about 1 centimetre. If you're not sure how much 1 centimetre is, what you can do, in my last video you'll have seen I talked about thread tracing, and what you can do is you can sew on a wide stitch length 1 centimetre all the way around the lining, and that will give you an idea on how much to turn in. And you can do the same with the fashion fabric, and that will help you to be able to turn it in accurately. So here's mine all thread traced, and all I did was I stitched around each single piece of fabric on the widest stitch length, and it makes it easier for turning. So you turn the main fabric in on itself, and then you're going to turn the lining in on itself, and start at the top where the seams are so that you can get the seams together to match. And that's the seams matching nice and neat there, and put a pin in. And this time I'm going to put a horizontal pin, and I'm just going to work my way around now. I'm going to do the bottom, where the 2 side seams are. That was seam number 1 in the first place that we put together. So if you've enjoyed the video and you want to get a copy of the pattern, scan the QR code here, or check out the link below. Just have a look at the bottom.